Hi. Continuing on our exploration of 5G, in this case the 5G NRU, looking at it vis-a-vis Wi-Fi, we want to cover a few technical points following up on our overview discussion. My name is Shrikant and I'm with NanoCell Networks. Now, in my introductory video on 5G NRU, I mentioned that there are two modes, one called a load-based mode and another called as a frame-based mode, which are popular for the use of, in unlicensed band. Now, what are the differences between these two? So Wi-Fi predominantly falls into the category of a load-based access, and what it basically implies is that we do not have any notion of a fixed frame time where transmissions have to start, and we basically do random backoffs to avoid collisions, which means we have starting points which are not synchronized within a single BSS, which is the type of network that is used in Wi-Fi, or across BSS. Okay. Of course, we have new features in Wi-Fi 6 like what are called a spatial reuse, which bring in some element of spectral efficiency which was not present in earlier generation standards. In the unlicensed bands, we also have another mode called as a frame-based mode, which is what 5G NR is probably looking to leverage. Basically, that involves some synchronized starting points in a whole area of deployment. And though you have carrier sensing, they're all synchronized to certain points in time. So you don't start arbitrarily doing carrier sensing and starting when you find a channel free. Okay, so this frame-based mode is also there. In fact, as I mentioned last time, the frame-based mode is similar to something which was attempted in the original 802.11 standards called the PCF mode of operation. Okay, so let's look at it a little bit more. So in the frame-based mode, remember, as I said, there are fixed time units. In fact, current discussions are times between 1 to 10 millisecond. As you know, the LTE subframe is of the orders of 1 millisecond. 5G slot times can be smaller, so we can expect things even to be smaller than these times. And what we have is some period where we'll have to minimally do this LBT or carrier sensing and leave maybe something at the end as well, and then occupy the time in between for the data transmission. Okay, so things are somewhat aligned in time. Okay, compared to load based mode, remember that everything is based on some kind of a back off, and one could start based on the rules of the particular transmission as to how much fixed time you wait, how much random back off time you have to wait, and so on. This is the most predominant mode used in Wi-Fi, and in fact 5G NRU can also use this, but it leans more towards the frame based method, primarily because if, for example, you use load based mode where starting times, these are 4 nodes operating on the same channel. Okay, if the starting times are randomized, you can see that they're all over the place. Of course, some transmissions might collide or they might be able to survive. The only thing is those interference effects are not going to be harnessed properly. Okay, so this looks like a very chaotic kind of picture where some cases we might have collisions bringing down something, sometimes collisions resulting in maybe things not working perfectly, etc. So how does a frame-based mode solve this problem? So in frame-based mode, when you schedule, and remember that is one of the important things in 5G NR unlicensed, is everything is scheduled. Coordinated transmissions can be scheduled to start at the same time. And the nice thing is there are a lot of techniques for making sure that you can harness the information to manage the interference. So for example, there are things like coordinated multi-point transmissions, okay, and many such techniques where you can, when you know and then schedule, you can manage the interference coming from multiple sources. So this is probably one of the biggest advantage, apart from the fact that everything is coming in a nice time bound manner, and that helps a lot when it comes to a scheduled system, coming from its origins from earlier cellular technologies like LTE, where things were happening nicely every 1 millisecond. So that gives some kind of a nice controlled mechanism, and on top now you add sophisticated techniques which can handle the interference and ergo much better spectral efficiency compared to uncoordinated transmissions where things might work out, may not. Okay, so in summary, 5G NRU is probably leaning more towards the frame based mode and also towards doing things like this in a, as I said, a factory environment or some kind of a setting where they want certain higher spectral efficiency, certain controlled way of handling their interface, even though they are operating in the unlicensed band. Okay, so I hope that gives us some more insights into 5G NR unlicensed as compared to say Wi-Fi. Thank you.